So, a little earlier than predicted, the answer to the question, do we have free will? Now, right from the start, I'm going to say, people have written books on this, and not everybody agrees. Yeah? So, on the understanding that that's the case, I've got 2 pages. So let's see how we go. Okay? So the key questions last week were, as I remember them, do I have free will? And why does God allow bad things to happen? So let me answer the second one first. Yeah? Bad things happen because God allows us free will. And some people choose to do bad and harmful things with that free will. Yeah? We are free to choose, but we're not free from the consequences of our choices. Okay. Done. Yeah? Yes. Happy? No. Okay. Okay. You'll have gathered from that my understanding, as I said last week, was, do I have free will? Yes, I think I have free will. If we have free will, if we can believe in a God who wants a relationship with humanity, a relationship with us, it's going to be characterized by God's grace, by his love, by his forgiveness through Jesus. The alternative to having free will is often referred to as predestination. And this understanding of God allows God to be distant, to rule over humanity. Some would argue it would allow God to treat us like mindless robots or machines. We are just there to work for him. It's restrictive. We are restricted as people to a life and death experience that God planned for us before we were even born. And if we believe the latter, if we believe in the predestination, we must be prepared to accept that God may well condemn us to hell, and that there would be nothing that we could do about it. Hope is lost, and life without hope is, by definition, hopeless. So what does the Bible have to say? Genesis, let's go right way back to the very start. Yeah? The very, very start. God is creating the universe. And in Genesis 1, verse 26, it says, let us make man in our image. Underline us and our. Let us make man in our image. As Christians, we believe God is triune. It means made of 3 parts. We believe Father, Jesus, and the Spirit. Each unique, and together, God. It would be fair to say some people don't believe this. But if we look in the New Testament, if we look in Romans chapter 1, verse 20, it says, since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that men are without excuse. Now, I'm no scientist, yeah, but I understand that things on this earth are made of atoms, yeah? Atoms are made of other things. But at a foundational level, the other components that make up an atom, there's one. Is that a neutron? A neutron. Does anybody know what a neutron consists of?
It's part of the nucleus that's got a neutral charge.
Yep. Do you know what it's made of? No. I knew he would. What was that? Sorry, somebody said it.
I think it's made of quartz and quarks.
Quarks, yeah. No.
What are quarks made of?
Let's just behave. Let's not go there. Quarks are not. Is it Star Trek or something like that? There's a character Quark. Okay, it's not that kind of quark. All right. What's interesting about these quarks is three of them come together in a neutron. This is the foundation of what things are made of. And the Bible's telling us God's put the clues in place if we just look for them. Yeah? If it's possible for three quarks to come together and to act as one, and that's on the earth, why would it be impossible for God to have three parts acting as one? That to me seems a possibility. And I think it's important. I believe it's important because God, Father, Jesus, and Holy Spirit act in community. They're not fighting amongst themselves. They're acting in community. We are made in God's image, therefore we should be acting in community. Whether that's with our neighbours or whether it's ourselves and God. But how can we be sure we have free will? How do we know that we've got free will? Let's go back to the Genesis story. God creates man and woman. Adam and Eve are put in this beautiful garden that is just probably beyond our imagination. The best scene you've ever seen times by 100, 1,000. And they're free to roam wherever they want. And on a daily basis, God comes and walks with them. Now, I'm guessing it's a pretty big garden. Adam and Eve are free to go anywhere they want. They're free to go as individuals and stand at either end of the garden. But they come together and they meet with God. That's a free will choice, yeah? That's a free will choice. They choose to do that. God makes this beautiful garden and everything in it is really cool. And God says to Adam and Eve, you can eat anything you want. But see that tree over there? That one? The fruit looks really cool, but I'd rather you didn't eat that. It's not the best for you. Please don't eat that. Then the story goes that the devil comes and whispers in Adam and Eve's ear and they eat the fruit. God's told them, please don't. But they eat the fruit anyway. That's free will. They make the choice. It's their choice to make. The devil's no standing, twisting their arm up behind their back. Go on, eat it, eat it. It's their choice. And after they've eaten, they know that God's going to come and want to walk with them and talk with them. And what do? They go and they hide. And that's free will. They could fess up. They could say, yeah, asked us not to eat that, but actually we did. But no, they go and they hide. It's free will. They were able to choose their actions. For me, that's free will. God's response to that was limited anger and a plan to make things better. Psalm 100 reads this. Shout for joy to the Lord, all the earth. Worship the Lord with gladness. Come before him with joyful songs. Know the Lord is God. It is he who made us. We are his. We are his people, the sheep of his pasture. Enter his gates with thanksgiving, his courts with praise. Give thanks to him, praise his name. For the Lord is good, and his love endures forever. His faithfulness continues through all generations. The Lord is good. His love endures forever. His faithfulness continues through all generations. God's mercy never stops. It's everlasting. So the question is, why would he treat you and I any differently to Adam and Eve? God has given us free will, but he challenges us to use it wisely, to live in holy community. The Old Testament, God gives to Moses the 10 Commandments. They are community and grace-based. You know, the other religions of that age, it was all about working to please your God. What the Jews had was something altogether different. The New Testament, you've got the teachings of Jesus. And they challenge us not to do as little as we can for others, but as much as we can for others. A free will decision on our part, but that's what we're asked to do. And he asks us to go further and to do the seemingly impossible by loving our enemies. But it's all free will choice. If you have £1 and you want to go to the shop and buy a sweetie, you have your £1 and you're going to the shop, and you know the sweetie that you want to buy, and you get to the sweetie shop, and at the door there's a beggar sitting, and he's asking for help because he's absolutely starving. And you know in that moment you've got a choice. You have the free will. You can spend your £1 and buy your sweetie, or you can help this guy out. It's free will. Today when we do something wrong to another person, we feel guilty, we feel embarrassed. Without free will, there would be no reason for these. No use for these reactions, and the chance for God's Spirit to guide us into asking for forgiveness from the person, forgiveness from God himself for the hurt that we've caused. Now, many people think of God as being distant in heaven, the creator of all the universe, who has a big throne in heaven, and that's where he sits and hears from it. But what if God came to earth? What if he came to earth? Surely with the God of all creation, who's created the heavens, the earth, threw stars into space, if that God came to earth and you could hear him, and you could touch him, would you still use free will? Would you be so, it's God, that you would just, whatever he said, you would do it? You wouldn't want to upset him, would you? He's created everything. You're not going to upset the guy by saying, actually, I don't want to do that. I'd rather do this over here, if you don't mind. Jesus leaves heaven, born as a baby, grows to maturity, calls people to follow him. John 6, verses 66 through to 68. Many of Jesus' disciples at that time, they've been listening to him, they've been following him, they're loving what he's saying, but all of a sudden he said some things and they're like, oh, you know what, that's too far, I don't want to do that. No, I'm not happy with that, that's no for me. No, it's been nice knowing you, Jesus, but, you know, I'm away. I'll see you next time you pass through town. Bye. And Jesus turns to the 12 that he's called and that he's going to build his church on. And what does he ask them? Are you going to leave me too? Do you want to go? It's free will. The God who creates everything is standing in front of them. And he's asking them, what do you want to do? You stay, you go. Your choice. And their response, Peter says, to whom shall we go? You have the words of eternal life. Jesus says, you have free will. You choose. I've told you before, I grasp the concept that there must be a God, that, you know, none of this just kind of happens. I understood there had to be a being, a presence that was bigger than ourselves. But I struggled for a while to see where Jesus fitted into the picture. And actually the plain truth of the matter is Jesus is right at the very centre of the picture. Jesus is key to understanding God's grace, the undeserved mercy of God, so that even when we choose not to follow, there's a path back. See, God allows us, I believe, free will, knowing that at times we will fail, we'll do the wrong thing for ourselves and for other people. And at those times he offers us his grace by forgiving and forgetting our mistakes when we honestly say sorry. You know the story of the prodigal son. He wished his father dead, wanted his part of the inheritance. The father says, here, he's selling up his estate that he's worked so hard for, and gives the son his inheritance. He blows it. He makes poor choices. And the father watches every single day for that son to come back. And the son knows that really that's what he needs to do when all the inheritance is gone, when he's left with nothing. He knows he's got to go back. And he says, you know, I'll go back and I'll say sorry, and I'll work as a servant. I'll work as a slave. And the father watches for him and runs for him and will have none of it. You're not to be a servant. You're not to be the slave. You are my son. He reinstates him. Looking to Jesus gives us the best understanding of free will and how best to use it. As a Christian pastor who is faced with a woman who didn't believe what Christians believe. The woman had a daughter, and he said to the woman, imagine your daughter's in trouble. Your daughter is in trouble. You've got a choice. You can either go and get your daughter out of trouble, or you can send someone else. What's you going to do? And the mother says, well, I'm not going to go send anybody. It's my daughter. I'm going to go and get her. The pastor pushes just a little bit further. He says, well, imagine that you're going to a party and you got your party clothes on and you're looking hot, you're looking good. And your daughter's in trouble because she's up to her neck in a big puddle of mud, and slowly she's drowning in it. And you've got a choice. What are you going to do? Are you going to go and save the daughter and get the nice party clothes all messy? Or are you going to say, just hang on there, hen. I'm away at the party. I'll get you on the way back. And the woman says, I'm going to get my child. Even although my clothes are going to get dirty, I'm going to go and get my child and save my child. And I'm going to the party, whether my clothes are dirty or not, and my daughter's coming with me. It's a bit of an example of what Jesus does. Jesus has the free will. He can have his party in heaven and look hot and go. Or he could have come to earth and got messy and dirty and saved you and I and still gone to the party, but with us as his children. I don't really have an awful lot more to say. I'm not sure I've got any more to say. I'm feared to ask, is there any questions? Or any comments?
I was just thinking about the thing that people say to you, that God knows everything's going to happen, so it doesn't really, he makes it happen. But just on a very simple level, that's not right. I know lots of things are going to happen. I know the sun's going to rise tomorrow. I'm not making that happen. And when God created the world, gave us free will, he knew there'd be trouble.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the other thing I was thinking, if you go on and on with yourself, and you think, now, do we have free will, do we not? I don't think I'm a robot. I think I have free will. In a sense, it's a choice. When you look at what it's teaching in the Bible, and you see what done. But in a sense, it's a choice that lots of things will be. But I believe that you have free will, so I live like that, I make choices.
Yeah.
Not just I feel bad, because it's me that did it.
And I think we all do. Yeah.
How I am as a person. In your heart, people know robots.
Yeah. No one wants to believe they're a robot. No one wants to believe that. No one wants to think that they're a machine.
I've always thought, presumably God wants, he wants a small family, and he wants children that love it, but you can't have real true love if you don't have free will.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't work, does it? Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. Anything else?
I saw a cartoon once which was about the whole question of evil and like said at the start, why does God allow such horrible stuff to happen in the world? And so somebody asked him, Jesus, he said, Jesus, why do so many horrible things happen in the world? And why do you let all this happen? And Jesus said, funny, I was wanting to ask you the same question.
I think sometimes people misread, misunderstand some of what Scripture says. In Ephesians chapter 1 and verse 11, it says, in him we were also chosen, having been predestined. Yeah? So God has known that, he's chosen us according to the plan of him who works out everything in conformity with the purpose of his will. I think sometimes people misread that as we need to do the works. Actually, you don't. This is God who works it all out. You know? Plan of him who works out everything in conformity with the purpose of his will. There may be deep questions that people have, and I fully understand that in half an hour or however long I've been speaking, I'm not maybe going to answer some of them. The reality is, better men than me have argued this for centuries, and they can't agree. All I can do is share with you what I believe to be true and good and right. And I'm doing that for you. I also did it on the basis that we might have had guests in, and they needed to hear some of what's been said this morning. Yeah? So I don't know how possible it is, but I know that you put these videos on YouTube. Yeah? This one I would like tagged to the church website, if we can do that. If it means that we need to lose something to get it in there, I'm happy to lose something to get this in there. Okay? Because some of what we've covered this morning is foundation for some of the people who might come in here and visit. And, you know, the first port of call for most people looking at somewhere is they go to the website. Yeah? So if we can do that, that'd be really cool. Yeah? So, I've spoken enough. Are we going to do a song before we do communion?
Yeah.
Yeah? We can do that. And
It's up to you. Okay. Are you ready to go? I'll crack on.
I was asked to do communion this morning, so I'm just going to read a verse here in 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 23 to 26. That's page 1152, which says, "For I received from the Lord what I also passed on to you. The Lord Jesus Christ, on the night he was betrayed, took bread, and when he had given thanks, he broke it and said, 'This is my body, which is for you. Do this in remembrance of me.' In the same way, after supper, he took the cup, saying, 'This is the new covenant in my blood. Do this whenever you drink it, and in remembrance of me. For whenever you eat this bread and drink of this cup, you proclaim the Lord's death until he comes.'" So I'd like to invite you to come to this communion this morning. This is only bread and there's only juice, but it's when we take it, the thought behind it, it represents the body of our Lord Jesus Christ who died on the cross. And also, when I was kind of thinking about the communion, and in recent weeks we've been talking about people coming from different faiths, from kind of different background to Christianity. But when I was reading when Jesus Christ was doing was kind of breaking the bread and the wine, amongst those people there was one of them who didn't kind of have the same view with Jesus. And Jesus knew that he was going to do it, but nevertheless he still allowed him to be on his table and take part of it. If he can allow someone of that nature to be around him and eat of his body and drink of his blood, I think it'll be more joyful for his own children to come together and eat of his body, drink of his blood. So I'm going to say a short prayer, and whenever you're ready, please come forth and take part in this communion. Father God, we give you thanks this morning that we can come around your table and eat of your body and drink of his blood. We know this is only a physical material, but we believe the impact that it has. We believe the thought that is behind this, which represents your grace, which represents your blood that was shed for our sin. And every time we do this, we remember that you bought us with a high price. You left your glory and came down to die for us. So as we eat this bread and drink of this wine, we just let this be a message that we will carry in our heart and share with others. So help us understand this in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Amen.